on.
Let's just get into this shit, right?
Ready?
So, my dad was a pretty handy dude. But I was not allowed to take shop class in school because my parents believed college and shop class were mutually exclusive. And shop class was for stoners and flunkies. So, I went to college and I promptly flunked out. I bought an old Volkswagen bus and I moved to Los Angeles. And both that Volkswagen and I were broke a lot. So I had to figure out how to fix it myself. Eventually I figured it out, and for the first time in my life, I experienced learning by doing, not by memorizing. And I now had this confidence to fail and learn from mistakes. And that woke an insatiable desire to learn everything I possibly could, so I went back to college. I got my teaching degree because I wanted to get in front of every kid I could and make them experience that level of learning. It didn't even matter what I was going to teach, I just needed to get in front of them and get them to understand what real learning was. About 15 years ago, I was teaching a high school in Cleveland, and we held what's called Wonder Week, where every adult for 1 week got to teach their passion instead of what they were hired to teach. So for 1 week, I got to expose 12 kids to the wonders of turning wrenches on old motorcycles. We were going to tear down 3 old Hondas, and the kids would see how an engine worked. And in the first 10 minutes, I realized that not one of the students had ever held a screwdriver before. So we eventually got 3 bikes torn down into a zillion pieces, but we did not have time to put them together. So I totally failed. But over the next few months, I realized that the kids learned, and they learned a lot, and they loved it. And they didn't even know they learned, which was magical. They learned by failing. And until that week, learning always meant sitting in an institutional style room and trying to memorize facts and abstract theories. So those 12 kids became better students in their regular classes. Their attendance rates were higher, their feeling of agency over their school career rose, they signed up for after-school activities, their grades and attitudes improved, they were totally changed. And I know it sounds crazy, but it was that old Volkswagen that woke up that love of learning for me. And for these 12 kids, it was those old Honda motorcycles. It's that sexy, ancient, cool machine that was the missing key for me and for these kids. Total surprise. So imagine this country being stocked with high school and college students that possess the confidence to fix the world around them because they had the opportunity to learn with their hands. That problem-solving mentality, that is one of the most sought-after goals in the world of education. Well, I could no longer stomach teaching kids sitting behind desks after figuring out what the Holy Grail was. So my wife, fellow educator, and I invented Motogo Cleveland, this nonprofit. We put tools in the hands of kids, and we encourage them to make mistakes. And we encourage them to do this through building vintage motorcycles. In Motogo, the kids get used to failing, and they learn to solve problems. And not problems on paper, but real problems. Problems like broken bolts and stripped out screws. Problems that are right in front of them. Problems they can touch. And they have to use their brains and their hands. They have to talk and they have to listen. And when they experience that victory, the natural consequence of that positive achievement is overwhelming. During a recent Motogo class, I was saddened to learn that one of my 10th graders did not know how to read. I had to read him the next step in the manual, and then the next day, he sought out the reading specialist in the building, which was a magic moment. And when she said, "Why now, Joseph?" he was like, "Well, I'm building a motorcycle and I have to be able to read the manual." Another student I had, Lillian, gets damn near perfect grades in high school, but isn't sure she wants to go to college. She takes Motogo, decides she wants to be a mechanical engineering major, and is now getting her combined master's and doctorate in quantum energy transference at the Ohio State University. Definitely not the kind of shop class my father thought he was keeping me out of. So my dad was wrong about shop class. It is for everyone. It's not for the stoners and the flunkies. Once kids realize that all their mistakes led to these victories, they're totally changed. They become students of the world. They get to experience failure without a failing grade, and that's huge. And you know who needs this most? People that identify as female. Because only a fool believes getting your hands dirty is man's work. Women are better at almost everything on the planet. And when they're finally invited into the spaces that they're historically kept away from, they shine. They listen better, they try harder, they do everything better. It's absurd that 51% of this population does not get the opportunity to learn with their hands. Imagine our workforce if that were different. This country needs this, Cleveland needs it, and I'm guessing Chicago needs it too. If Chicago's next 100,000 high school students graduated knowing how to fail and how to problem solve and succeed, the city would become a beacon of ingenuity and work ethic. I really believe, as crazy as it sounds, that shop class can save a city. Now on the surface, shop class is just more school, so we have to mix it up. We have to bring in a motorcycle, something sexy and cool. We can't have it in a traditional classroom. We have to let them experience this trial and error in a space that does not feel like school. We must attract them into the garage with the dirt and the grime and the danger and the thing that no mother wants their kid to get involved in, and that's motorcycles. It's not a new concept, but it seems to have disappeared largely from America over the last several decades. We need to rebrand and revamp shop class because it is so important that kids learn to continue failing. By protecting me from failure, my dad kept me from the most important learning of my life. Failure is the linchpin to problem solving. And problem solving is the root of every single skill known to humans. Shop class is the place where problem solving and failure